Hi, this is going to be a quick comparison of AAA flashlights, single AAA flashlights, cheap ones that you can get from eBay or AliExpress.com. I was able to get almost all of these lights for $2 US or less. Most of them from eBay, some of them from AliExpress. I do want to make a warning about buying off of AliExpress. I have dealt with a couple questionable sellers there, where they do things like they say they've got the item in stock, you buy it, and they say, "Oh, nope, sorry, we don't have it," and ask you if you want to buy something else. When you say no, getting your money back and dealing with that and dealing with AliExpress customer service, they basically don't help you at all until a certain amount of time passes. So I would encourage you to buy from eBay unless you can't find it there or you can't find one of these lights at a good price there. If you do buy off of AliExpress, make sure you're buying from a seller that has a reputation that I would say is over 97%, and ideally they're selling that particular flashlight and they already have, they show some sales of that item, ideally with some reviews so that you can tell that they've, a few people have already bought that flashlight, they've received it, and maybe given a review of what they've actually got. The way I found most of these was just by doing a search for example, AAA flashlights. You don't have to add the word LED in there because all of these are LED. I don't think you can buy non-LED flashlights anymore, or at least cheap ones. Using the pricing filter, I would often set the upper limit for $2 or maybe $2.50. Maybe a lower limit as well, because you don't want to generally buy the stuff that they sell that's going to be under $1 unless you're specifically looking for that. This one here is I was able to get for $1. And looking for free shipping. Even then, though, you're going to get hits of all kinds of different flashlights, so it does take some looking. And I want to show two flashlights that you're bound to see if you go looking for any of these other ones. This is the only two AAA flashlight that I ended up buying, just mostly out of curiosity. It's actually a medical flashlight, and it's quite dim. I suppose for shining in somebody's eye, you don't want something too bright. So for that purpose, this works fine if that's what you're looking for. I think I was able to get this for $1 or less. But in terms of a flashlight, you can already see here the contact is kind of flimsy. Not really worth it for anything that you'd really want to walk around with, whether it's in your house or outside. The other one you're bound to see is this AA flashlight. And you can see there, it has this police 3-watt logo on them. These are all over the place on eBay and AliExpress, and you'll see them because the sellers also often have listings of multiple items in one listing, and so you'll see a range of pricing on the main screen before you actually look at the product screen, the search results page. And the prices range from 99 cents to $3. So you see maybe you want one of these, you see that, and you click on it thinking that you're going to be able to get that light for 99 cents. And it turns out that this is the one that's actually 99 cents and that one is $3 or something. This is not worth buying. It's not very bright. It has a very tight spot. Just don't bother. So let's jump in here to number one. All of these have new alkaline batteries. I figured if you're going to use a cheap flashlight, you're probably going to use an alkaline rather than an expensive rechargeable, which if you lost the light, the battery would actually be more expensive than the light itself. And just to make it clear, I'm doing a quick overview here. I'm not going to go, into in-depth on any light with a comparison of beam shots and all of that. The basic criteria here is like, is it a decent light? Is the build quality decent? Would I carry it? Would I feel okay giving it away as a gift? And would a person receiving it feel like, oh, wow, this is cool. This is a good little flashlight. Number one here, this is a single mode flashlight. It's not particularly bright. Let me do a close up here. that will focus. No. Let's try this. There we go. The build quality of this, given that I paid $1 for it, it's actually pretty good. It's it's got the clip there. It's got a clicky. And for a $1 flashlight, the clicky feels okay. It doesn't feel great, but it's okay. This is a pretty dim light, though. It's okay for, if you just need something on your bedside table for walking around and going to the bathroom at night, this would be fine. Or given the price, if you were, say, looking to buy 50 flashlights, whereas you could get 50 of these for $50, that may make a difference between buying one of these other ones where you're paying twice as much. But if you're just buying a couple or giving them away as gifts, I would say go for one of these other ones. But for $1, not bad. This one paid, I think, between $1.50 and $2. I thought that because of this big reflector here, that it might be a nice bright light and particularly good at throwing light for distance. But that is not the case. It is about the same brightness as that other one, maybe a bit more throw, but because it's so bulky, you can see it compared to my reference flashlight. So that's a Lumen Top Tool AAA. That's an ITP A3 EOS upgraded, and that's a Glary E03. This is just for a AAA flashlight. This is just big and bulky, and you're not getting, any great amount of brightness out of it for that. So I would pass on that one. Number 3 here. I bought these thinking, about 2 of them, thinking that they might be a clone of this light, which I really like this light, but you can see that they are, well, a similar design, maybe based on that. They're quite a bit bigger. It does have a clip, which is very sturdy. Let's see if we can get that in focus. These are twisties, 3-mode. Problem is that to change modes, of course, you twist, and sometimes because the quality isn't that great, the contacts aren't that great, and so sometimes it will skip modes. Like you think you're turning on again and think you're just going one mode, and it actually jumps 2 modes. The brightness is actually good. The spot is a decent amount of flood. Even though the other thing is this has next mode memory, but it doesn't reset. So if I turn this off, so here's low. If I turn it off in low, if I were to now wait 10 minutes or an hour or even 1 minute and turn it back on, it turns on in strobe. And that's just kind of no deal for me. That kills it. Yeah, if you want something with a really strong, sturdy clip, I guess these are ones to consider, but just bear in mind that. The other thing is these are both from the same order. I noticed that there's a variation in tint between the 2 of them, even though they came in the same order. This one's a bit more yellow. Looks like it's even maybe a bit brighter. Maybe this is on low. That's better. That one's a bit more purplish tint. This one's a bit more yellowish tint. So yeah, just keep in mind, it's the same with all of these. There's going to be some variation between what you order and different, same flashlights in the same order. Number 4 here is another twisty, 3 modes, and get that in focus. It's got this keychain here, which I'd have to say is actually rather flimsy. I feel like if this was, hanging from your keys or something and a good pull, I feel like this would come apart. Otherwise, though, the contact on this is better than number 3 there. So is that high? No, that was low. There's high. There's low. Strobe. All of these, if they have 3 modes, it's basically those 3 modes: high, low, and strobe. And again, on this one, no reset on the next mode memory. So if you turn it off in low, a minute later or an hour later or a day later, when you turn it on, it's going to come on strobe, and that's not so great. Let's move on to number 5, another 3 mode, but this one is a clicky. Get that in focus. Another Skywolf Eye, common brand that you'll see with these lights. Same kind of flimsy keychain, so if you get this, I would consider replacing that. The clicky feels good though. It is bright. It's got a nice spot, just floody enough. There's low, and there's strobe. Of course, the problem is with this one as well, the next mode memory does not reset, from what I can tell. At least just before starting this video, I tested this one again and let it sit for a minute, and after a minute I turned it back on and boom, went right into strobe. Number 6, another 3 mode clicky. Fortunately with this one, the next mode memory does reset, I think after 20-30 seconds. For the ones I tested, it is generally 20-30 seconds the next mode memory will reset. So we got another Skywolf Eye here. Got this nice little red band. I ended up paying between $2.50 and $3 for this one. What can I say? That red band just pulled me in. It's got a nice clicky on it here. It feels quality. Nice light output. There's low. There's strobe. But again, with this one, after 20 seconds, if I were to turn it back on, it would go on in high. So that's a nice one to consider if you can get it for a good price. For whatever reason, they have this groove here, which I actually, when I bought this, I thought this was going to be a Zoomy, but it's just the head that screws on like that. And so if you want that logo to be perfect, you have to match it up perfectly. Moving on to number 7. This is our first Zoomy. 3 modes. Skywolf Eye B16. 3 modes, Zoomy. Same flimsy keychain. Next mode memory, which does reset. I've never had a Zoomy flashlight before, so I was kind of curious about these. Basically, there's high, and with a Zoomy, so that slides in and out. When it's back, you've got the nice wide flood, and then if you zoom out or zoom in, you got that very squarish. It kind of shows the outline of the LED itself. The advantage of that is that when zoomed in, the Zoomies here, they have a little bit better throw than the other lights. Like if you were to shine it at some trees across the street or in your backyard or something, these would go a little bit further, but it's so tight of a spot and there's no flood around it that you wouldn't go for a walk and keep it in this mode. You just use it to zoom in on something farther away that you actually you want to see a little bit better, but then you lose all the flood around it. So it's not very practical for walking. And if you try and do some middle ground here like that, well, then it's very easily, if you just bump the light or whatever, you're going to lose that. So to be honest, I won't be buying any more Zoomy flashlights unless I come up with some particular need or purpose for them. I suppose having it zoomed back like this, it does give you a nice wide flood and it's very even, so that may be nice if you're looking for something in a drawer in a dark room or something. But honestly, the non-Zoomy flashlights do a fine job of that. This does have a nice clicky and the quality feels good. So if you want a Zoomy, that's one to consider. Next one here, this is a single mode, and you can see I actually was able to fit get that off. That's a cap from a Burt's Bees lip balm. We'll get to that in a second. This, another Zoomy, but it's a single mode. It's got a clip here. We can get that in focus. There we go. Clicky's okay. Zoomy works. And I just happen to notice that this lip balm cap fits on the end and it makes a nice light diffuser. And the interesting thing is, if you zoom it, I don't know if it'll show up on camera, but it actually dims it just a little bit, which is interesting. I don't think it's necessarily that interesting, making it worth buying just for that, but in case that appeals to you. Number 9, very similar Zoomy, but this one has a black clip, and that clip is reversible, which I'm a big fan of reversible clips. Yeah, another Zoomy, but 3 mode. There's high, there's low, there's strobe. Does have next mode memory, which resets after 20-30 seconds. So if I were to carry a Zoomy, I would probably go with this one just because of the reversible clip. I like having that reversible clip so that I can put it on the front of my baseball cap. Number 10, this one is the most unique of the bunch. Get that focused. So this is a 4 mode with the COB here. It's got a clip, which is not reversible. It is next mode memory, which resets after 20-30 seconds. Has a rather tight spot, but it is bright for what it is. There's low, and then, oops, there's a 3rd mode, which is the COB light, and that's quite bright. So that for an area light, that's nice. And then the 4th mode is just the cob light in a beacon mode, if you ever need that for whatever reason. Because it's unique, I could see maybe finding some purpose, some use for this, maybe camping, something like that, and having that COB light on a light that is this lightweight is kind of nice. You can get some lights like this that are AA that have COB lights, but this is the only one that's AAA that I have seen. Number 11. So originally I bought one of these. It would be this one. These are single mode reversible clip, which you can see here because the top one I've got the clip reversed. The thing about these lights is, even though they're single mode, one, the build, the quality of them, it just feels like it's worth more than $2. The clicky's great. The light it puts out, it's a nice beam profile. This one is a little bit more on the purplish side of things. This is from a different seller. I wanted to kind of test out, whether there was variation, and there definitely is. This one's a little bit more yellowish, but yeah, just great lights. That's why I, got one of these, and I ended up buying 2 more. One was this one was that, and we'll get to that in a second. Yeah, if I were to buy some either to carry myself or to give away as gifts, this is what I would go for. They are quite common, and I'm guessing that there may be some more variation, but if you get it from a seller where they've got a good reputation, and maybe like if it's from AliExpress, you can see that there are a lot of reviews for that item where people have bought them and they seem to be buying more. This would be one to go for. One thing I will note is that with the clip reversed like this, it doesn't stay on. You can maybe see here, this is starting to, it kind of wants to come off. It's enough that it stays on the lip of my cap. So it hasn't really been a problem. And there may be, again, some variation, like maybe if I flip the clip on this one, maybe that one wouldn't have that problem. But yeah, good lights. And that brings me to number 12 here, which I thought was going to be one of these. But it ends up that it is a 3 mode. Got the same reversible clip, same design, next mode memory, which resets after 20-30 seconds. There's high, there's low, there's strobe. The high in this, I think, is brighter than I think all of the other lights, and definitely a brighter and wider flood than the other lights. Has this cheesy Chinese logo on it, probe shiny. So you can either look for that and hope that you get a 3 mode if that's what you want. This light was actually not advertised as a 3-mode light. It didn't say anything about modes at all. I just got it, and lo and behold, it is 3 modes. For gifts, for some people, I think a 3-mode light might be, especially maybe for an older person that, they just want a light that they turn it on and it's going to work. They don't want to have to deal with a strobe or whatever. Yeah, for gifts, that's why I think maybe the single mode lights are better. If you know that you want a light with modes for yourself, or to give away for friends or family, whatever, that's where you'd maybe look at a 3-mode. So I'm not going to post links to any of these because honestly, certain sellers will have one of these in stock, and then they'll just stop selling them. So there's kind of no point. Again, if you're looking for one of these, all you can really do is go on eBay or AliExpress, look for AAA flashlights, use the pricing filters, and maybe put it between $1.50, $2, or if you put it up to $2.50, you'll get more options. Look for a reputable seller, and again, I'd urge you to probably buy from eBay if you can find it there, because if you do have a problem, eBay is better to deal with than AliExpress. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.